Thank you very much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Mr. Donfried, dear Mark, thank you for inviting me, and I'm very happy to be here once again in Berlin to talk with you about bridges and walls, and I wish all the best. There is no dilemma about whether it is more difficult to build or to destroy. But then again, there is a difference in what is being built and what is being destroyed. Real walls and those of prejudice have often been built and raised with the intention for them to irritably divide and alienate us, as well as to lean on ever new walls. The less we talk, the more bridges of cooperation we tear down, the more misunderstandings we create, the easier it will be for us to rule over those to remain at one or the other side of the wall. However, we do not want to this happened again. This was the principle applied by many of those who, throughout the history of politics worldwide, built the walls that divide and destroyed the bridges that connect. The memory of the fall of the Berlin Wall is a historical memory that transcends of immeasurable historical significance. It is also an example of historical decisions, of wisdom, and of political courage. The world would undoubtedly be a better place if there were more courageous people and more builders who do not fear the anger of their so-called own people and who do not dread the different foreign people. A suitable environment in which we can develop and complement their thesis on construction and demolition is precisely the European Union. Its pillar countries, its new member states, as well as those that aspire to membership. Croatia, where I come from, and where I was Prime Minister, witnessed in its long history, both ancient and recent, a number of constructions and demolitions, just as the European Union did in the history of its inception. The founders of the EU had a dream and made it come true, indeed by striving for lasting peace and stability as the pillars on which welfare of states and nations could be built. History can teach us many things, but we are often reluctant to turn to it, often unwilling to learn. It is not the example of France and Germany after World War II, a prime example. Their wise statesmen delegated hostilities and broken bridges to history and turned to the future. Yet there are many politicians who demagogically invoke turning to the future while having their fingers crossed behind their backs. This is because they are best inspired by hatred and entrenchment in hostilities that feed their political vanity and hide their incompetence. When I look at the recent Croatian history, from the 90s to the present, I find elements that corroborate these theses. Croatia is today a member of NATO and the EU, and I wish for my country to become the leader of the Southeast European region. Croatia's experience can be valuable and stimulating because of the historical, cultural, and all other kinds of similarities that should connect us rather than divide us, and that can easily be built into the foundation of the bridges that we are talking about. A successful journey along the European path guarantees lasting peace in Southeast Europe. The region is burdened with the legacy of war, tragedy, and unhealed historical and human wounds. It was in this region that the First World War began, both formally and symbolically. Atrocities occurred here during World War II and immediately after its end. It was this region that, after the breakup of the former Yugoslavia, saw aggression, heavily civilian casualties in Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, divisions, hatred, and hostilities. To this day, the traces and the consequences are still more than visible and painful, and they burned the relations. Therefore, I see Croatia, which is a member of the EU, as a driver and a motivator for building bridges and tearing down walls. This means that we must turn to the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.